is dominant and white is recessive. Which means what? It means you produced white people. If you had begun with white people, if Adam and Eve had been a white person, you would not be here. There is nothing more beautiful than being a black person. Nothing more powerful than being a black person.
What's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to my space. This is Evans Raiola. Guys, today I'm a bearer of good news. As I was doing my research as always, I stumbled upon a video of this African philosopher, this educator, this historian who was speaking about the original man, the black man, the man who looks like me and you, the melanated man. And I found this topic to be very, very instrumental in regards to the series that I have been doing on the black history. So guys, on this video, this philosopher was speaking about the original man. He was speaking about the melanin, and I found this story to be very, very informative. So the speaker of the day is Dr. Kihura Nkuba, who often referred to as the original man. Is an African Ugandan philosopher and historian and educator with deep roots in African cultural studies. Nkuba is known for his work in tracing African heritage and exploring concepts around the origins of humanity and civilization in Africa, particularly addressing the deep ancestral roots of African people. Nkuba often speaks about the historical and cultural legacy of Africa and emphasizes the significance of African knowledge systems that have existed for thousands of years. His teachings highlight how early African civilization contributed to the foundational aspects of global knowledge, innovation, and societal organization. Through his work, he encourages Africans to reconnect with and honor their ancestry, affirming that Africa is the cradle of humankind, a concept supported by archaeological findings pointing to East Africa, including regions around Uganda, as some of the earliest sites of human activity. So guys, I want you to hear this video. I want you to listen to this scholar as he explains deeply about the issue or rather the story about the original man. Once the video is done, we'll get back and do a critical analysis of the same. Let's watch this, guys.
But for a start, I want to excite you in this word called melanin. Melanin. Who knows this word? Who of you knows melanin? MELLANIN. Melanin. Anybody? Huh? Okay, you haven't. Yes, she knows because she works for the Virus Institute, and you know because you're a teacher. But what about you? You haven't started learning, particularly if you're a black person, unless you know what melanin is. Melanin is a carbon that does not deteriorate over time. Melanin is your black skin pigmentation, or in plants it is equivalent to chlorophyll. But it is the most powerful thing that you can have. In terms of people, we gauge your importance on the amount of melanin you have. So we say the darker the better. The darker the better. Melanin is produced by an enzyme. You know an enzyme? Called melatonin. Melatonin. So, you need melatonin to make melanin. But for melatonin to make melanin, it needs a catalyst enzyme that we call tyrosine 7. So you have tyrosine 7 to work with melatonin to produce melanin. If you have internet and you look for melatonin, you will find there are over 100,000 products made out of melatonin, basically made out of black skin. So, melatonin, melanin, and tyrosinase 7. If you have no tyrosinase 7, you can't have black skin. You can't. And in biology, if you have no black skin, they say you are depigmented, demelanized, or you are an albino. Yeah? You understand that? Yes. Yeah, Sebo, you know you have lights in the car. Yeah, just in case. So, if you have no black skin, you are an albino. In biology, white people are called albinos. And the word white comes from the Latin word albinus, which means white. So in biology, you have somebody who is depigmented, which means he has no pigment. Demelanized, who has no melanin. And if you are depigmented or no melanin, it means you are an albino. If you have melanin, it means you are a black person. That's in biology. Now, this melanin is responsible for a lot of things, and I want you to write them down. I hope you have where to write, students, huh? Do you have where to write? No. Who said no? How can you be a student and not know where to write? You came for what? For dinner? Huh? Hey, Sebo, this is not a wedding. You came for a lecture, and an important one. Number one, it protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun and the energy from the earth. So, when the sun hits your body, certain rays are allowed in, certain rays are filtered out. It stops you getting skin cancer. Then it protects you against the energy from the earth, which means if you are standing, it anchors you. Like in electricity, you have earthing. Yeah? When something is earthed, it's not hit by lightning. You know that. So, if you are standing here with a white person and lightning struck, it would pick a white person, throw him there, you would remain standing tall, blessed of the sun, because of your melanin. So, number one, protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Number two, protects you against the energy from the earth. It anchors you. Number three, melanin is responsible for healing. When you cut yourself, if you cut yourself, you see blood, you see something red, they may be white, and when it starts healing, a dark skin comes and covers it, or a dark patch comes and covers it. That dark patch is melanin. Melanin sends reinforcement around the area that is affected and brings about healing. So melanin is also responsible for healing. Melanin is responsible for a sleeping cycle, how you sleep. If you don't have melanin, you don't sleep properly. You have what they call insomnia. Melanin controls fatigue, so you are not tired most of the time. So other people who don't have melanin, they have fatigue. If they travel in a plane, they get what they call jet lag. Then melanin is also responsible for something else, what we call a corresponding cosmic connection. It links you to the universe. You begin feeling something. You know, when you feel energy pulses. You know, there is a lot of energy that is here that you don't see. Energy you don't see, but you can harness it. For example, if somebody calls you on phone, you don't see the sound traveling in the air, you know, but it comes to your phone. So there is a ultraviolet, ultra high frequency signal that comes to your telephone. Are you with me? So, for example, one way you can test a corresponding cosmic connection is when a black person hears a music pulse, a sound pulse, an energy sound. So if I say na 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 na, oh Africa, Africa, na 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 na, oh Africa, straight away you feel the rhythm. Even before you hear it pulsate through your veins. If it was a white person, they wouldn't feel the rhythm. And if they started dancing, they would be jumping up like this, and then they would do this, and you know, they would not move in tandem with the rhythm because they don't have melanin. They do not have that corresponding cosmic connection. The corresponding cosmic connection also means that you could be seated here and something happens to you, and your mother at home will see a leaf fall from a tree and you'll say there's something wrong with my son. Or you could be going somewhere and you see a rat cross the road, you say, this is not a good thing. You know, so that nature works with you, not against you, to warn you, you are at harmony with nature. So that's another thing that melanin does. Protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun, the energy from the earth. Melanin controls hearing, melanin controls fatigue, melanin gives you a corresponding cosmic connection. But melanin also does something else. Melanin gives you dominant genes. Dominant genes. Now, you know the science of genetics. Yeah? You know genetics, genes. That science started around 1822 with a gentleman called Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel was an Austrian from Austria, and he was a Catholic priest from the Augustine monks. He was an Augustine monk. Augustine lived around the 2nd, 3rd, 4th century AD, and he was the black person who lived in North Africa in a place called Hippo Regius, who wrote the laws of the Catholic Church. Because most of you think that, white people brought religion and they, and they taught you how to read and write. That's all not true. That's what we call his story, the white man's side of the story. It's not our story. It's not true. So I am just telling you that the great Augustine of Hippo was this bishop who wrote the laws of the Catholic Church. Now, the followers of Augustine are called Augustinian monks. And one of the Augustinian monks was Gregory Mendel, who lived in Austria around 1822. And in Austria, he was looking at genes, because at that time, white people were wondering where humanity started. Who were the first people to populate the world? And they thought that white people were the first people to populate the world. And at the time, Christianity was very heavy in Europe. It's not the same now. If you go in a church in England, you will probably find about 2 or 3 people, the priest and his assistant and maybe one other person, unless it's Christmas. So they were first looking in Europe. Then they couldn't find, the oldest they could go was 40,000 years. Then they went to Asia, the oldest they could go was 900,000 years. And then they came to Africa. And the oldest they could go in Africa was about 1.5 million years. So Mendel wanted to find out, using genes, inherited characteristics. Because when a man meets a woman, in Africa we say you have a spiritual congress. European people say you have sex. In Africa we don't have sex. We don't even have a word for it. We call it a spiritual congress. But when a man meets a woman, they exchange first genes. And the first genes they exchange is called nuclear DNA. And you share, almost equal sequence that sit on your chromosome. So you have a certain equal percentage from the male and the female. But there is a certain gene that a mother passes on to the child without going through the filtration process. That is called mitochondria DNA. Mitochondria DNA. Sometimes it's written like this. Mitochondria DNA. That one the mother passes to the child without going through filtration process. The father doesn't contribute to that DNA. So if we want to find out who is your father, we will just look at your mitochondria DNA. But the inherited characteristics pass through from the nuclear DNA. So Mendel was looking at these characteristics, and he was looking at plants to see what does a father plant give to a child plant? What does a mother plant give to a child plant? And then he went to animals. And Mendel concluded that if you began with white people, you would you'd never have got black people. Because white people have what they call recessive genes. Do you study that? You study recessive genes. You also study dominant genes. You study that? Now, if you study recessive genes and dominant genes, you know that a recessive can never produce a what? A recessive can never produce a dominant. But a dominant can do what? Very good, very good. Some of your fees, went for a good cause. If you know recessive genes, you can never stay away from that. Recessive genes, no two white cats can produce a black cat. No two white goats can produce a black goat. No two white cows can produce a black cow. No two white chickens can produce a white chicken. And no two albinos, no two white people can produce a black person. Why? Because black is dominant and white is recessive. Which means what? It means you produced white people. If you had begun with white people, if Adam and Eve had been a white person, you would not be here. You understand that? Do you understand that as scientists? So, if you're a scientist, you look for science. Yeah? And you know what science is? Science is a phenomenon that is provable, number one. Number two, it is subject to experimentation. Number three, if that experimentation is carried out in the same environment, you will achieve the same results. So science is not belief. Belief is the absence of fact. Belief is the absence of fact. I don't say I believe black people were the first people to populate the world. No. I know black people were the first people to populate the world because I can prove it. Do you understand that? You not only need to understand but also overstand. Because maybe if you understand, you remain under. You need to come up, and overstand. So, here we go. Gregory Mendel is the father of genetics. If you study genetics, you are studying the science of Gregory Mendel. And that science of Gregory Mendel is about recessive genes and dominant genes. It's about genes. It is about what produces what. If you have a child with a white person, God forbid, and the child is born here, at birth the child will have less white genes and more black genes. As the sun hits this child, the body will begin to produce more melanin and the child will begin to darken down. The nose will become wider, taking more hot air. The eyes will adjust and the hair will become good, just like these sisters. This is known in biology as phenotype adaptation. Phenotype. The core and response of the environment. You react to the environment. But for you to react to the environment, you must have melanin. Because if you don't have melanin, you can get cancer. So that is the phenotype adaptation. It means that you, who has melanin is the most incredible, most powerful thing that you can have. You have no idea what melanin is, what being black means, what having black skin is. White people today, that's why I said go and look for this, melatonin. You will find thousands and thousands of products made out of melatonin. White people inject their lips to have fresh lips, like a black woman's or a black man's. Because white people have no lips. Their lips are almost like this. You know that. Those of you have seen white people. They are cut short. There wasn't enough material. But for you, being the first person, you utilize all the material to make yourself into a full person. Yeah? White people are injecting their breasts to have full breasts like a black woman. Because most of white people don't have, they have like flat chest. You sometimes see, is it a man? And now they wear trousers. Say, hey, a man or a woman? And because of plastic, they also have beards. So you don't know whether you're really dealing with a man. But quite significantly, white women are injecting their behind with melatonin so that they can have what they call steatopedia, the unusual accumulation of fat on the black woman's behind. Whereas white women have what we call ironing board backside, you know, completely flat. There is nothing there. Yeah? So there is nothing more beautiful than being a black person. Nothing more powerful than being a black person. There is nothing more beautiful. Listen to me. White people, you know, most of the time, as black people, we hate ourselves. And unless we deal with that hatred among us black people, we cannot achieve anything. You can't become a scientist, you can't become a historian, you can't become successful, you can become only successful to a limit where everybody is trying to put you down. But why do we hate ourselves? Because we were told in the Bible that we were cursed. Haven't you heard that? The curse of Ham? That we were cursed as the sons of Ham. And yet, cursed in the Bible, Noah, who was a drunkard, cursed Canaan. He didn't curse, he cursed one son of black people, but not all, because Noah was also a black person, according to the Bible. And, you know, hopefully we'll come, you know, and cover this. So, we hate ourselves. And even in everyday language, if I want to cheat you, I blackmail you. If I want to put you on a bad list, I blacklist you in a what book? In a black book. Haven't you heard that? That will put you in a black book. Teachers used to have black books. Do they still have them? Yeah? Change their name. Call them white books or, you know, danger books. Now, if it is a bad spot on the road, it is called a what spot on the road? A black spot. If it is a bad trading day, it is called a black day. If it is in a legal market, it is called a what market? A black market. Which means if there are black people in the market, then the market is illegal. You are not supposed to trade. Yeah? As long as you see black people, it's illegal. You know? So we wear black for funerals. And when we wear mosquito nets for weddings, what color are they? You have not seen the wedding dresses. What do you think they make them out of? Mosquito net, except there are many of them piled together. So stay away from them when you get married. Huh? Don't go and get a mosquito net and then they have a long one so that when it's walking, it keeps cleaning the street. Yeah? I don't know why they do such a thing. So, when you wear white for weddings and you wear what color for funerals? Black. Now, in your homes, the pictures of God that you have is what color? Be honest, tell the truth and shame the white man. What color are the pictures on the wall in your homes? White. And what color then is the devil? So if I kill all of you, I have fought the devil, won't I? Is that not, doesn't it make sense? If I am a Christian, and they say onward Christian soldiers, if I am a soldier of Christ, my job is to fight the devil. What does the devil look like? Isn't it black?
Family, before I give out my commentary, I just want to commend Dr. Kihura Nkuba, because this guy is very, very wise. I like how he speaks, and I'd like also to confess that he's one scholar from Africa that has just given me an information that I have never had before in my lifetime. This guy is so, so wise. I just want you to share this video with your children, with your family members, for them to be empowered with these very, very useful information about the original man and about how melanin is important in our bodies as human beings. Dr. Kihura Nkuba, in his teachings on the original man, mentioned that melanin is the most powerful thing that you can have in a human body. We gauge your importance on the amount of melanin that you have. The darker your skin is, the better. Many a times the white supremacists lie to us that black folks are less of beings, that they are less important. They try and make us feel less. They try and haunt us with racial abuses. They want us to feel like we are less. But in real sense, the darker your skin is, the better you are. Melanin is produced by an enzyme known as melatonin. If you have no black skin, you are an albino. In biology, whites are called albinos, and white comes from a Latin word called albines, meaning white. Family, this pastor just changed the life of the students in his lecture hall. I understand he was teaching, I think, high school students, in this video, and he was trying to explain to them the importance of melanin in human skin, in human body rather. He was trying to just make it clear to the students about the lies they've been told in regards to black and white. Here are some of the importance of melanin in our body, according to Dr. Kiura Nkuba. Number one, melanin protects us from ultraviolet rays of the sun. And he proceeds to give an example of lightning. He says that if a black man stands on the face of a lightning, then a white man does the same, the chances for a white man to be struck with the lightning is higher than that of a black person who has a lot of melanin in their skin. Number two, melanin protects us from the energy from the earth. Then number three, melanin is responsible for healing. If you cut yourself, there's a dark layer that covers your skin. That's melanin. In the black skin, like mine, once I get a cut, once I get hit, there's always another skin developing, like as soon as possible. The more melanin you have, the easier you can get healed in case you have any injuries on your body. Those are just some of the advantages that we have as black folks, the melanated man, the original man. Then number four, melanin is also responsible for sleeping patterns. It prevents insomnia. Melanin is so advantageous in our body. Number five, melanin controls fatigue. Many a times you'll notice that guys who have a lot of melanin in their skin, they tend to be tougher than those who have less melanin on their skin. Look at people on the fields of sport. Those people who are more dark are always more stronger. They can easily play games after the other because they have a lot of melanin content in their body. It prevents fatigue. Then number six, melanin is responsible for a corresponding cosmic connection. It links you to the universe. If something can happen to you, let's say in New York right now, and you have a lot of melanin on your skin, if your mom is in Africa, in Nairobi, Kenya, your mom can already feel a connection and they can tell that something is wrong with my son. That is how powerful the melanin is in the skin of the human being. Melanin is responsible for corresponding cosmic connection. You can connect to nature when you have the melanin. Those are some of the advantages that we have, we folks with the black skin, we folks with a lot of melanin in our body. The white supremacist has just tried so hard to make us feel like less, to make us feel like we are not worth it, to make us feel like we need to be their subjects. But let me teach you one thing, guys. We are actually very important because number one, we have a dominant gene, while the white folk has a recessive gene. The doctor in this video has given me a very powerful insight. He said that a recessive gene can never make a dominant gene. But when a dominant and recessive gene come together, recessive genes can also be made from the same. There is no way that Adam and Eve were white folks. Because there wouldn't be black people right now in the face of the earth. Because white people have recessive gene. When two white people come together, they can only make a recessive gene. But when a white person comes and interact with a black person, then they can easily create a dominant person, the dominant gene now. So there is no way that Adam and Eve were white folks. You know, many a times we see books that have been drawn a white Jesus, white Adam and Eve. Those have always been lies, man. The Bible was a black history. I've done a series on the same. And guys, I want to commend these pastors so much because, this teaching is very, very powerful. Dr. Kiura Nkuba has just done as proud as black folks because, rarely does such teachings be taught in Africa. I actually learned most of these things from black Americans. Rarely do you see black folks teach the same things in Africa. That was very, very powerful. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly do consider subscribing to my channel. Kindly, right now we are on the road to 20,000 subscribers, man. And we are 5,000 subscribers less. Guys, I'd really wish that you all could support me in this journey. Like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'll be so grateful. You can as well share this video with your friends and family so that we may be able to spread this good gospel. Guys, thank you and see you all in my next episode. Goodbye for now. Adios.